Alright, so you're going to open up your raw image, and what you're going to do is we're going to raw process this a few different ways. So you're going to create a couple different versions of the same image, and we're going to use the different colors that we're going to combine them and use layer masks to blend them. So here's an example. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to create an image that will make the middle green section a little more subtle, not so bright. So I'm going to come over here to the exposure. I'm going to bring it down. I'm also going to do the recovery to see if that changes it. If I go all the way up to the right, it makes it a little darker because this part got a little overexposed, and I can kind of recover it a little bit by creating an image with the raw processing and going in and reducing the exposure on that. I'm also going to play with the temperature up here a little bit. I think I'm going to keep it there and go with adjust the temperature, the tint a little bit up. Adjust the blacks a little bit. Give it a little more contrast. Give it some clarity. A little bit of vibrance. A little bit of saturation. So I'm going to go ahead and open this image, and this is not my final image. I'm only looking at this part right here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to raw process the image again. This time I'm going to raw process for the colors, just kind of the overall colors and exposure as well. So that means I'm going to have to, if I double click on the little triangle, I can basically reset everything to what I had it at originally. So if I click on here, it moves them back to the original setting. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to process it for a couple of different color palettes, and I'm going to give it a nice blue tone on one, maybe for one particular processing. I'm going to do my recovery all the way over to the right, because recovery has to do with the histogram and making sure we have a proper exposure. I'm going to bring my exposure down just a little bit, and I'm going to give it some clarity, some vibrance, some saturation. Maybe bring the exposure up just a little bit. I'm going to come over here to my detail. I'm going to sharpen it a little bit, give it, and reduce any noise. So I'm going to go Control Plus, and I'm going to zoom in to see if I have any noise reduction to worry about. And it doesn't look like I do. So that is good, because when you're processing the image, you don't want to cause more noise damage as you're processing it. So that it doesn't look like I have to worry about it, adding to the noise. So I'm going to open the image. So now I've got this version and this version. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to process the image a third time. And this time I'm going to process it for a different color. So I'm going to bring it maybe down this way and do kind of a green. I'm going to keep everything else pretty much the same. I'm just kind of processing it just for a different color. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open that. Okay, so now I've got 3 versions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 versions, and I'm going to go to Select All, Edit Copy, and I'm going to bring it over here to this one and paste it in. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Select All, Edit Copy, and come over here to this one and paste it in. So now I have my three images. Now it's time to use a layer mask on these. So what I'm going to do is place a layer mask on each one of these. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to start kind of blending in the layers. The big brush here, I'm going to reduce my opacity down to about 50% so that, let's see, I'm going to turn off this first layer here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to my background layer, I'm going to put in my my road map section here that was too bright. I'm taking it out and I'm putting in the darker version. Okay, so I'm kind of, so we can see here, you know, that was how it looked before we darkened that one section. So I kind of put that back, I put that in. And I am going to go around this. I'm going to actually keep this purple tone here. I'm going to come over here to this layer and I'm going to take out the green on this side so that I kind of have like this green and purple on one side and just kind of play with the colors a little bit. So we can see how it's showing up here on the mat, on the layer mask, just kind of blending in some colors rather than just having it all one, you know, purple color or one green color. I'm just kind of adjusting and adding in some more colors in here. But this part right here is too bright, so let's put in our layer number 2, which is the area that has the darker exposure. Go ahead and put that back in so that we're blending and balancing the image basically. Let's see here. Maybe I want a little bit of purple over here. Maybe I want to add in a little bit of green up here. Have, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of green over here, a little bit of purple over here. Maybe on the little keys over here I could have some of them purple and some of them green. Kind of just vary it a little bit. Kind of. Okay, so then my next step is to figure out if I need to retouch anything. And I want to retouch like this area here and here and a little bit over here, I think. So it's just kind of figuring out what layer you need to retouch on. So I'll start with this layer first and see if that's the layer that I need to redo the retouching on. Okay, yeah, so it looks like the second layer right here is letting me do some retouching here. And over here, looks like I might have to go to a different layer because nothing's happening. Okay, so let's come over here to layer 1. Let's see if that's doing anything. Okay, yeah, it is. Alright, so just want to clean up the fabric a little bit here. I see like a little spot. Let's see, where did I? Along the edge right here, so I'm going to clean that up a little bit. Looks like I might have to go to another layer for that. Maybe this one? Let's see. One of these layers I know will let me retouch this. There we go. A little bit there. Okay, Control minus. Let's see. I'm going to come around here and just check to see if there's anything else I need to retouch. I'm thinking I might retouch this here and here, so Control minus, let's see, looks like I can retouch it on this layer, that reflection on the game board a little bit. I also feel like this is too bright here, so I'm going to actually retouch that by coming over here and cloning this line and then bringing it down, lining it up. Didn't work, so maybe I'll come over here to this layer. Oh, maybe it's on that layer. Let's see. Okay, so that worked, but too dark. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna undo that. Let's bring opacity down to about 40%. Let's try that again. Let's see. Okay, that looks a little better. It's not so bright anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to go around the edges and just look and see if there's anything I need to retouch anywhere else. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go Control minus and go out. I'm going to add a vignette to this at the very top. So let's go in and just add in a solid color. I'm going to do a black. Go on my opacity about 50% and just do like the vignette around the edges. I'd like to have that really nice solid black edge. And then I'm pretty much ready to save. So that's pretty much it. So you're going to raw process multiple images for different colors, combine them, mix them in on the layer, different layers, use the layer mask to blend them in, retouch anything that needs to be retouched on them, and then add a vignette at the end to kind of give it a final black edge around, and that's pretty much it. So I want to put this video in case you guys want to refer back to it. I'll put it on the digital locker.